So my son came to me the other day and was like, you know what? I don't want to eat vegan food no more. For the past week, he has been like rebelling against the food. I don't know if it's rebellion or, whatever it is, he's making his choices. He's just like, look, when he first tasted, he was like, yeah, it tastes good. And I'm like, yes, that's a go. And then he's just like, no, I don't like it no more, and throw it away. So, he's just like, look, Mom, I don't want to eat vegan food no more. I like it, but I really want to eat like meat and stuff. Like I want candy and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, what do you want to eat? What kind of food do you want to eat? He said he want to eat pork. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, you going too far. You is going too far. But so my mind works in solutions, as you know. So I'm just like, okay. He does go to family members' house and they do eat, whatever they eat. And I'm like, okay, let me try to figure out some stuff. So he makes his own money. Like, my kids is hustlers. They'll make their own money and go and buy their own food. So I was like, well, let me just help him become more conscious, because we all grew up eating all the candies. We ate all the fast foods and loving McDonald's. I used to love McDonald's. But I it's just sickening to me when I think about it. But basically I'm like, okay, we went to McDonald's and I'm like, I want you to consciously recognize how this makes you feel. Like, because a lot of times we're looking at society, everybody eats it, ooh, I'm loving it, the jingles, and like, ooh, I like the taste. So he eats like a burger or something. He's like, that was good, and the next day he comes to me and he's like, look, I don't ever want to eat McDonald's again. That shit made my stomach hurt. And I'm like, okay, being conscious is very important of how your body reacts, because you don't even know the stress and dis-ease that we put our body through subconsciously, not really realizing it. Our thoughts are so powerful that we can do things that don't really serve us and deem it okay, because we're not consciously staying aware in the present moment of what it's doing to ourselves. So, thankfully, and it's easy for a lot of people, especially adults, they're like, oh, well, McDonald's don't do nothing to me, blah, blah, blah. But have you fast? Have you spent extended amount of times eating healthy foods? Like, he has been eating healthy foods. Yes, he dips and dabs and other stuff. And my oldest son, like, he loves it. He's good with the healthy foods. But, he might look into some meat sometimes or whatever. But most of all, he's just like, he'll choose the healthy food. But so my son, he's just like, look, I actually became aware, that I don't ever want to eat McDonald's again. Like, that stuff made my stomach hurt. So I want you guys, the ones that's saying right now, I can hear you in my motherfucking head. You're saying, look, McDonald's don't do nothing to me. Let him be a kid. I raised my children to be, I say independent is basically to think on your own. If I feel like this is right, like when I went to the spiritual journey and I went to live in nature, I didn't take my children because I don't want to force them into a lifestyle, because I know they have the same spirit as I do, a rebellion spirit. So if you try to force me to do something, even if it's supposedly supposed to be right, I'm going to rebel because I don't like to be forced into doing stuff. They have the same spirit, so I'm not going to force them into a lifestyle. I'm not going to force them into eating a certain type of way. I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to motivate them. I'm going to educate them. I'm going to influence them. I'm going to be the change. I'm going to be the role model, be the example, but I'm not going to force them. So when they want something different, then I allow that, but I educate them. I make sure they know what they're doing, so whenever they have to deal with the consequences of their actions, they knew better. So maybe next time when you know better, you just do better. But I'm not going to force them because I already know. Let me force them to be like, you're not eating none of that shit around here. Like, you're not eating that at all. Like, I don't care how much money you make. Do not buy this. If I try to do that, they're going to rebel. Plus, they're boys. Like, they're kings. They need to make their decisions, and that don't have nothing to do with it. You're an individual. You should be able to make your own decisions, okay? But I want you also to realize some that you think is your own decisions is a program from the subconscious mind. Our environment, society, the way us seeing other people do things, that has an effect on our subconscious mind. The media that we watch every day is programming our minds. So you have to understand, if you have an environment that says yes to do this, even if it's wrong, like right or wrong isn't right or wrong. Right or wrong in this society has to do with how many people agree. Just because many people agree don't mean it is right. Don't mean it's natural. Many sheep follow the lead. That don't mean that they're being led to the right place. They're being, a lot of sheep, being led to some crazy stuff. So I want you to understand that type of an analogous is the same way with our minds. Our minds can be led into a space where we deem it to be right, but ultimately it's not. Therefore, you have to think outside the box. Okay, you have to really go within yourself. What does this really do to me? Is it my mind telling me that this is good, or is my body telling me it's good? Is it society telling me it's good, or is it my parents and my friends telling me it's good? Like, what's really good for you? And that's why it's so important to know how to honor yourself, your true self. See, a lot of people will be like, well, I'm honoring myself when I want to smack this hoe. Like, that's not your true self. Your true self will be your higher self, the most high version of you, that version of you that would do the right thing, even when no one's looking, even when you're in your emotions. So I say that to say, I know my kids got this rebellion spirit, so I'm not going to force them to do nothing. And I don't, that's just my parenting style. Like, my mother showed me a little bit of that. She allowed me to make my own decisions, though some people may not agree with my decisions. I don't regret my decision. I dropped out of school in 9th grade. I don't regret that. I just don't. It just, nobody could really make me feel bad about that. Like, I'm not a dumb bitch. I'm an articulate person. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I know how to put 2 and 2 together. I know how to make analogies. I'm not a dumb person. So, and I can do anything I put my mind to. There's certain sayings that my mother had installed in me that help me to this day. Like, and it doesn't matter what type of level of education I have in these school systems. Like, I'm intelligent and I know that. So I just speak light and love into them, even when they choose to do something that I don't deem to be the best. Okay? Now, there is a line, because sometimes, they might want to commit a crime. You might have to show some tough love. Like, come on now, I'm not about to just sit here and let you do that shit. Like, no. And I know a lot of people, especially in this community, they're like, I'm going to force my child. I'm going to do this and that. It's different because my kids it's different. Like, that's why you got to study psychology, because my kids already grew up in a certain way. If I force them to be this way, if I force them to live in nature, if I force them to do this, they're going to rebel and go back to the system. So I need them to consciously make the decision to say, this is the best way to do it. And plus, if I transition and die up out of here, they're going to watch my videos and they're going to take heed to what I say, even if they don't take heed right now. Best believe when I'm gone up out of here, they're like, damn, what was my mama saying again? Let me look into that. So that's what I believe. But whenever we're recreating things, when we know the truth and we actually abide and live by the truth, and we have children or younger children, we can actually help them with the environment, so they're not really misled or guided by I wouldn't even say misled, but it is misled, but we'll say guided by the environment that we're raising them in now, our communities now, with our conscious mindset and our change and adaptation to the truth and to what we believe is the most natural, healthiest way of living. That will then influence them. So then when they see society eating McDonald's and doing this type of stuff, their body is already equipped to eating the most healthy, high vibrational foods. So then when they go to eat McDonald's, they will feel the difference. It may taste different, you know what I'm saying? But they will feel it. They're not hooked on sugars. They're not addicted to sugar like crackheads, okay? They're not addicted to salt like crack, okay? So it's just different. Like, we made the decision to make the change. Our children needs to make the decision to make the change. But if you raise a child from a youngin' on up with this ideology, then they will most likely continue to do what they feel is right. And once they try something new, then they'll feel the difference. See, it's different when they try something new from going to be addicted to something. That's a whole different, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta like come up out of that addiction. What is it called? Like therapy or like rehab. You need rehab, and rehab is not easy, okay? So it's different when we're transitioning into something better versus what we've been addicted to.